I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. And I am making it right now. Hey, everybody. Today we have another Sunshine for the Journey episode just for parents. The Ready, Set, Go show also has many episodes which have been created just for young kids and the big people in their life. Those are filled with stories, songs, interviews, and ideas for activities. But it's also important for adult listeners to hear from parents who have perspective on the early years with their own children. It's easy to get stressed out by situations close to home, sometimes even in our own home, and also out in the world. So this is a place for us to reflect on what went right despite everything. Today we have Byron on the show, and he has a lot of experience with kids. He has 4 children and 11 grandchildren. He is also the executive director of Possibilities, the Oklahoma City-based nonprofit organization that hosts this podcast, the Ready, Set, Go show, along with many others on a podcast platform that they envisioned and implemented. Byron has worked at this innovative, empowering organization for 27 years. I bet that the people who hired him noticed that he had the ability to think outside the box and put people at ease while also challenging them to become an even better, more thoughtful version of themselves. He has continued to lean into those abilities through all the work he has done with Possibilities ever since. Many Oklahomans in many aspects of Oklahoma City have been transformed as a result of the work that Possibilities does. Hey, Byron.
Big wheels keep on turning, proud Mary keeps on rolling. Hi.
Well, hello. That was pretty great. Thank you
very much.
Thank you. So what are some of the things you and your kids loved to do together when they were young?
Since I'm older, it's harder to remember with my kids as young. My wife is much better at that. But I can tell you my because they're like in my face all the time. And business. So my Valeria, who will be 3, so one of her things is like, she will like be eating something and then it will fall on the floor and then she picks it back up and then she just will keep eating it. Well, then she gets in my lap. And so she gives me this look. And so then she takes out of her mouth what she is eating and she sticks it in mine. And so it's really funny because to me, it's like, her question is, okay, what is your commitment to this friendship? Are you willing to go all the way with me, buddy? And so I go, yeah, let's just do it, brother. So they leave and I end up having sniffles and stuff. And then I have Alex, who he will just come in and sit in my lap and just start like pulling my face, like he'll start squeezing my cheeks or pulling my eyebrows up. And so it's like my face becomes his face and he could do whatever he wants with it. And so I love those moments. And I love that I become an extension of them. And so if they, there's so many things they'll do. Like I have this little bird bath, and in my mind, the birdies will come in and just like fly, bathe, and then they'll go to the feeder and they eat. And in reality, my grandkids come, they get a shovel, and they dig up dirt, and they put it into the bird feed, and then they play and make mud baths. And it's like, okay, this is what you're going to do. And so so there's this part of me that wants to go, you can't do that. That's my bird feeder. So it's like, what is my commitment to saying, I value you as beings on this earth, and you guys being around me, you can choose, your path and how you're going to do it. And I try and support you is the best way that I can.
Wow, those lucky grandkids. 11 of them.
It doesn't come, it's not like my natural thing is to be like Gollum, mine, my precious. And so each of those things I have to make decisions in. You know, am I willing to let go of my control and my perception of how I see the universe? Because who knows, they may be the wiser beings. And I just can't assume. Like I have one of my youngest daughter cracks me up because she's taking, her minor is religion, but she doesn't like believe in God. And so she will yank us to like all these class assignments for like Buddhism or Chinese philosophy. And so we'll sit through, like we went to a Buddhist meditation last week, and we went through that meditation. She left us there. And I said, after doing this, do you believe in like Buddhism? She goes, no. And so for me, the trick is to just go, okay, I honor your path. And, she will either find or not find the God of her understanding, but it's not my job to enforce and interfere with that.
Mm-hmm. She's on her path.
And that is that answering your question, that is the thing about parenting that I really enjoy. Is the tension between what I want from my children and the honor of letting them live their life.
I like that you use the word enjoy, because I would think many people find that just plain old frustrating. So good for you to come to the point where you enjoy it.
No, I really do. But the enjoyment comes in my ability to release and let go. Mm-hmm. And so which I think that life is a series of surrenders from the moment we're small till we die, with the final one being, I surrender to this life completely.
Well, what about when you were a very young child? What did you like to do when you were about 3 to 7 years old?
That's interesting. When you ask that question, the memory that popped into my head was running. Mm-hmm. I always remember running. And because we were playing hide and seek, we were playing Red Rover, we were running up and down. I was running to my neighbor's house, I was running to my friend's house, and I just running. I just enjoyed the activity of running
and playing games, it sounds like.
Yes.
Got to do a lot of that.
Yeah, my grandmother used to say, you're romping and running all over the neighborhood. Get in here and take a bath. Okay.
Well, do you have any ideas or advice for parents with young kids?
I know that, there was a lot of, I don't want to say dysfunction, but we had a lot of challenges. There's a lot of alcohol in our house. There's a lot of lack of money. I was actually, did I write about this? I was telling it. I might have, just that eating crayons and paste.
I saw that. Yeah, you did write about it.
Because we didn't have enough food. And so, but I didn't think, as a kid, you don't think, we don't have enough food, so I'm going to eat. I just had this thing that I was hungry, and there's these pretty colors. Surely that must be substance of some sort. And, but what's interesting is what I live with the most, my memory of that, I don't remember the hunger. I do remember the shame of people making fun of me for eating the crayons and paste. And I think there was a lot of shame when I was growing up, and that things should be done a certain way, even though we had nothing. But there's like all these rules on, and so I always felt like I was not enough. I was a mistake. I actually used to just honestly think that I was like adopted. I go, really, I'm not in this family. I'm not part of this family. And so, so I found friends outside of my family whose families kind of took me in, like angels that took me in. And so I would go to their houses for dinners and or just be a regular person at their house. And so as a parent, I've always wanted to be the kind of parent that other people's kids would feel safe.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's some really good advice. Just to remember that people have different situations and you don't always know the whole story, and just to try to be a safe person for both your own kids and others, maybe.
So when my son was younger and when I was trying to get him to follow the paths that I had taken, I put a basketball goal out in the yard and in the driveway, and I don't think he played on that thing till he was probably 19, and him and some friends were spending the night. So he never played on it. But kids up and down the street came and played. And so there would be kids at my door going, "Can we use your driveway? Would you move the car?" And so if I wasn't home, my wife would go, "Your kids came by again. They was playing." And then they started asking for like drinks of water. And so you would just be involved with their life. I mean, one would go like to juvenile hall, or one would get in a fight, or one would, and so I just had like this whole gang of kids that came to my house every day and played basketball. And my son wanted nothing to do with that at all. And
well, you were the safe person in the neighborhood, it sounds like, to let out some steam. You did what you needed, I guess, or what you actually got from some other families, thankfully, when you were younger. So what are some of the biggest ways you think growing up now is different compared to when you were younger?
I don't know. I think that a lot of problems are probably made up in our head today, much more than... It's kind of like when I grew up and there was segregation. So black people couldn't be around white people. And so no matter how much I did not like that idea, I had to learn to live within those parameters. And so that was the reality of what I had to live with. Today, somebody could go, "Well, I can't do that because that might trigger me." Well, man, when I grew up, I mean, if I was triggered or not, I had to learn to deal with that. And so to me, that is a difference. Like, I just think it makes it harder for our young people to be resilient to problems because they're not having to face problems. And so we do such a good job of protecting them that they really don't know how to critically think in situations and solve problems in the moment. And I just think that we kind of had to more when we were younger because they just threw us out there to swim or sink.
Yeah, there was a very different sense of how you should parent back then compared to these days.
Yeah.
So what skills do you use in your work here at Possibilities that have seeds from your childhood?
Well, I meet people a lot in restaurants, so eating is the crayon lesson was a good lesson for me.
Hopefully you're not eating crayons at those restaurants. Something a little better than that.
Go ahead and eat your breakfast. I'm just going to eat these crayons here. Oh, I think that like all of life is a lesson. I mean, I just think that's what life is just it's like a classroom. And so everything is like a lesson. And so everything, I really do think our life is a series of circles. And everything goes back to the beginning. Everything goes back to my first relationships that I ever had on earth. And so, like, if I didn't have a close relationship with my mother, I leave that situation, I go to another family group, and I suddenly have the same situation kind of come in with another person. And then I go to another situation, and I have that. And so I keep repeating lessons that I need to learn. Mm-hmm. And so what has prepared me is realizing that everything that's ever happened to me is a lesson to help me today. But there might be things that I have to deal with today. That, for instance, if I was just talking about this, my mom, I really love my mom a lot, and she's just so great. But she would start talking. If she saw me get out of the car, she would start talking before I even got in the house. And she would not be quiet until I had drove over. And she could still be there talking. She'd just go, blah, 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 blah. And so there was never any space for any of me in those conversations, because she would just go, blah, 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 and your brother there, and your dad, blah, blah, blah. And so I escaped from that. Mm-hmm. And I went to, and so I just said, I can't live with somebody just talks all the time like that. Well, lo and behold, what does my mother-in-law do that I have now? And so, so I've had to learn to, how do I find presence with this person who has this thing that I didn't deal with when I was a kid. And so really learning to kind of deal with her today in a much more compassionate and present way. Mm-hmm. Where usually when people start doing that, I just click off in my head, and just when they're done, I go, oh, yeah. And so trying not to do that, it's trying to be like present for people when they're talking. I don't know if that makes sense at all.
Yes, absolutely. I'm thinking about how I wonder when humor started for you, because you use a lot of humor in your work and just talking with anybody you come across. You know, you make people laugh, you make yourself laugh. But I'm just wondering, like, did that come out of that situation where you're, you know, these important people, including your mom, were talking so much and you felt like you didn't have a way to respond or add your part?
Thank you, doctor. That's a very good question. So the time I remember, like I wanted to be like a professional dancer. Mm-hmm. Like James Brown was my idol. And so I would watch him over and over on TV and listen to him. And I just practice these moves, spinning around, But my audience was completely myself in like the bedroom. Mm-hmm. And I remember one day my grandmother and her friends were like drinking and getting drunk, or tipsy, as they like to say. And so they were bored with their conversation. They go, let's have Byron come out and entertain us, because they could hear music. So they go, so come out. So I have my pajamas on, and I'm thinking this is my first audience. I could really wow them. And so I start going into my James Brown dance, and I'm spinning, and they're in total silence. And I spin around, and one of my spins, I cut this fart.
Oh,
that
no.
was so loud. And so I remember they like just had this frozen look, and then they just lost it. And they just started like cracking up. And I think at that point, I go, I might not be a great dancer, but there's something with humor that I could do. So then I go to Denver, and I was fascinated with magic, like Houdini. And so I got a magic kit, and I did these card tricks and stuff. And so I remember trying out for the talent show in junior high. And so I tried to do this magic and stuff, and they go, thank you. We'll call it. And they never, so I was done. So the next year I went back and I did a magician who failed at every act he did. So I got a friend of mine, I was going to saw him in half, and, but I ended up like cutting him. And so we had ketchup and blood squirted every place. I, said I was going to make an egg turn into rubber, and to prove it, he could try and smash it over my head. And of course it smashes and there's egg all over my head. And then I'm going to make I was going to disappear. And so they hold up the thing and all my clothes disappear except my shorts. And so...
oh, that's such a fun idea.
And so I just started learning then. So I saw that when I tried to do something seriously, nobody paid attention. But then when I would put like this humor with it, it
was magical.
Yeah. It was.
Okay, so
I'm going
what?
to disappear now.
I know I'm not as good at humor, I guess, but
You're
that's
pretty
okay.
good. You actually are pretty. One of the joys of my friendship with you is your humor.
Well, thank you. I'll take that.
Appreciate it. It's really very cool.
So what is the mission of Possibilities and why was it created in the first place?
Is to strengthen the ability of people to work together to create community change. And so the thought being that if people do things together, that they can create change much better than if they try and do things by themselves. And so if we were in the Amazon jungle, something like Possibilities that concept would not be needed because everything is done in community. You know, everything is done. What did they say about Native Americans? Before settlers came, there was never a word for mine. Mm-hmm. Everything was ours. And so we've went completely the opposite of that, where everything is about pull yourself up by your bootstraps, do this by yourself. And so Possibilities is based on if we do this stuff together, we're much stronger and we can accomplish much more. And so our mission is to try and help individuals to gain their confidence. Now we have to work with people just to have the confidence to open themselves up enough to talk to another person and to be vulnerable enough that another person can see you. And so before we could even get people to work together, that we have to get them to just, okay, you could talk, they're safe, and let me put my food in your mouth.
So what year did it begin?
It started in 1996, but they didn't have a staff until 1999. Mm-hmm. So it was like community founders who, they had a great bank account. They built up money, went around the world and traveled and looked at what kind of programs they wanted to model after. And then in 1999, they hired a staff. And that's when I started.
Right at the very beginning. Wow.
Yeah.
So you have helped thousands of people develop leadership skills through your work at Possibilities. Do you have a couple tips for parents on how to help their own children develop leadership skills?
Yes. No. I just think listen. I really think that each of us has the answer inside of ourselves. And so my role is to listen to what that is and to create a space that people can express that. And so kids will find their own leadership if I stay out of the way and let them. My son, he's 27 now. And I tell you, I just, from the moment he was like this vivacious, laughing kid. And then he got to junior high. He puts on a hoodie, pulls it over his head, and we didn't see him for years. And so he didn't want to talk to anyone. He didn't want to be noticed. He had his group of friends and stuff. And he just shut down completely. His classes, he struggled with grades, and I'd go talk to his teacher and they go, well, he's the nicest kid. He just won't do anything. And so then we met with the principal and he goes, well, guys, it just takes longer for them to kick into gear then. And so I just threatened him, punished him, yelled at him, did all these things. And I mean, he would just move inches. And finally, we just kind of said, okay, this is your life. And whatever you make of it, it's yours. We stopped. So we just stopped bugging him. And if he had an F, we go ahead. After he probably got to make that up. Somewhere probably in his junior year of high school, his light came on and he just changed. And he started working for this restaurant, and people go, man, you were really great parents with him. And so then they said they wanted him to be part of the ownership group, and now he owns his own restaurant. And if he would have listened to me, I mean, he would not have found his thing. And the way he did that was I stayed out of his way to let him find his own voice. Mm-hmm. And that was the hardest thing for me as a parent, because I had the expectation of other parents and what I should be doing and where my kids should be, and just kind of let him find his own voice. Mm-hmm. And that is the hardest thing as a parent, but I think it's the most critical is your kids will find the direction they need to go, and if we trust that.
That's really good advice. You have a wonderful ability to be accepting and inclusive. Do you have any advice on how parents can help their kids develop those traits?
I think practice those traits yourself. In recovery programs, we always say attraction rather than promotion. And that people, if people see you living certain ways, they will be attracted to that. Mm-hmm. For instance, if we could go back to my son, I could do this whole show just on my son, because that was probably my most challenging child. But so I will see people when we're out as a family, and people see me all the time. It drives my family bonkers. They will if I saw you at a store, they would just walk off. They wouldn't say hi to you or anything. They would just walk the other, because they don't want to. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be out in public and stuff. And so my son used to be like that. And then I noticed one day that he was right by me when I was talking to somebody. And I go, that's funny, because usually he escapes with the rest of the family. Mm-hmm. And so he just stuck his hand out and go, hello, glad to meet you, I'm Eric. And he started copying stuff that I was doing. And so if you go to his restaurant in Ardmore, and his restaurant sells more than any in their population than any of the other stores they have in the whole franchise.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And it's all on customer service stuff that he has taught them. And so it is something that he just saw in me that he developed for himself. Mm-hmm. And so my other daughter, not so much, but who knows? I still have help with my grandkids. So I think the only thing that you really could do is to model what you want your life to be, what you want your family to be. If I want us to not take serious times so serious, then I need the model not freaking out in the middle of crisis that come.
Well, Possibilities is an amazing resource for people living here in Oklahoma City and the surrounding areas. Can you tell us about some things that the organization offers which could help parents and grandparents who live here?
Think of this, saying hi to your neighbor and how powerful that can be. How many of you say hi to who lives on your left and on your right and across the street? Are there shut-ins and that you might visit? And so I think the first thing is to really pay attention to your neighborhood. How are you doing? How are you connecting people in your neighborhood? And if you could teach your kids to be a part of that, that would be so much helpful. Where possibilities could be helpful is in actually giving you tools on how to say hi to your neighbor and ways that you could kind of ramp that game up. Maybe we could have a block party. Maybe we could, do some neighborhood cleanup. Maybe we could do something to repair the park down the street. And so those things really have a huge impact on community. I am really, since I'm here and you're my prisoner, I am really turning the opposite. I just think we focus so much on bigness, like how many meals have you served? How much money do you make? So it's all on how much we have, that we have lost the beauty of smallness. And so we're so busy trying to get big that we don't pay attention to the little tiny thing. Mm-hmm. I was reading this book, and this lady, she was talking about her 4-year-old, and that they gave her a bar of soap from a hotel. And then she put that soap, the little sliver of soap, and she put it in a Ziploc bag. And she took it every place with her. She talked to it. When she took a bath, she set it up on top of the thing. If she didn't have it, she would panic. It became her talisman. And so that piece of soap became like her most important thing in her life, to honor that. And I just think that is where our earth is completely upside down, that we only pay attention to bigness. How big is our country? How big is that? But where we're losing, we don't know how to be small. We don't know how to sit down and have a conversation with another person. We don't know how to look at a sunset. We don't know how to smell, how the air smells. And
I think the kids can help us learn some of those things.
Yes.
That's why I like teaching them. They teach me a lot. So where can listeners find out more about Possibilities and what it's doing?
You can go to our website at possibilitiesinc.org, or you could call our office at 405-525-3131.
And then, of course, there's the podcast website where all the different podcasts are available right there, and they get uploaded every time a new one comes out. So that's buildingbridgesokc.org. Well, is there anything else you would like to share?
I would like to just say that I think that you are probably one of my funnest human beings that I know. And so my pleasure has always been being able to spend time with you.
Well, likewise, Byron.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the Ready, Set, Go show today.
You're welcome.
Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Big wheels keeps on turning. Proud Mary keeps on burning. Rolling.
I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. And I am making it right now. And then I watch the news and think, well, where do I even begin? And then I think again, if not me, who? And if not now, when? If not me, who? And if not now, when? So I'm gonna put one foot in front of the other, 1 foot. I'm gonna put 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot. I'm gonna put 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot. Yes, and I'll be on my way. Yes, I'll be on my way.
How you gonna make sunshine?
I'm going to open my mind. Do what makes me smile inside. Then I'll share my smile with you. And like a wave, it will will reach others too. I'm gonna put one foot in front of the other, 1 foot. I'm gonna put 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot. I'm gonna put 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot. Yes, and I'll be on my way. Yes, I'll be on my way. And I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. I'm making sunshine for the journey. And I am making it right now. Say that again. Yes, I am making it right now. One more time. Yes, I am making it right now.
Sunshine.
The Ready, Set, Go show is part of the Possibilities podcast platform.